so small that it doesn't feel like a big cargo van. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2020 Ram ProMaster City. So as always, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah for providing us with the ProMaster. Definitely check out the inventory in the link below if you're in the market for a new Dodge, Ram, Jeep, or Chrysler. Let's get right into it. Under the hood of the ProMaster City, we have a 2.4 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 21 around town and then 28 in the highway, with power outputs being 178 horsepower and 174 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end on the ProMaster City. So you guys can see that's a pretty small sized cargo van in general. And that's one of the big highlights of the City, is if you want it like a cargo van but you want something that's a little bit smaller in size. You do get halogen headlights at the front. They do like kind of like a miniature version of the grille that's on the full-sized ProMaster. But other than that, things are really basic on the front end, and I mean it's kind of expected. Coming around to the side here, we've got two 15mm tires on 16-inch rims in the front and in the rear as well. You got little Ram ProMaster City badging right there, and then notice that you don't get any windows here in the rear of this particular one, and you got the door there on the side as well. We'll go over that in a moment, but here's a full side view on the City. Here's our key fob for the ProMaster City. You have a couple functions. You've first got the flip out key function, and then you do have the little unlock, the lock, and then this is for the rear. Pretty simple key fob, and yeah. Now we're gonna head to the back. Now opening up the back, you got that little handle there to open up that first part of the back, and then notice no windows in the rear, and then you just pull this little handle right there, and then that'll open the other part of the door. And then notice that you got a decent amount of space back here. Now I am gonna attempt to pop in. Now obviously I can't like fully stand up. I gotta kind of like go on my ankles here, but I mean, you guys can see if you want like just again a smaller size cargo van, then it definitely does it. You can get seats in this row right here as an option. This one has the seats deleted out so that it's a little bit more practical from like a cargo capacity. And then notice that you do get doors on both sides, so a little bit different than the like full-size ProMasters. Another little thing's kind of hard to show is to open up the doors more. You just kind of press that little thing, and well, then the door will open up just a little bit more, so then it makes it so that getting into the back is just a little bit easier. And if you're wondering how you put that back into place, literally all you have to do is just put the door back in, and then it locks back into place. And yeah, pretty simple. And then again, you just have to shut the doors back in the same order that you open that. So that door first, and then this door second. Now finishing things up in the back, it's just the back of a little cargo van. I do like the taillights. They're kind of like just like an interesting little shape, but you've got all the regular logos in the back. The backup camera is actually integrated right next to the little license plate right there. And again, just like the simplistic nature of the back just continues. Now coming to the side, the door does slide open, and then let's actually pop over to the other side so you guys can kind of see what it looks like in the rear with all of the doors kind of, well, at least these two back doors open. So yeah, you can see that getting in is really easy. And then imagine you'd have those doors open, so you literally could have this in like kind of like a transformer type mode if you wanted to. And then just as simple as opening them, you just kind of got to close it like that with both of the doors. And yeah, I mean, again, you just have to use the handle. Pretty straightforward. The one thing that I don't like is how the track on the outside shows. I wish they could have integrated that a little bit nicer so that it doesn't have just like this kind of like little thing hanging out here. Coming up to the front here, pretty normal, and then there's what the mirror looks like. Now looking at the rest of it, the thing that's pretty interesting is just opening up the door. When you're on the inside, you pull this little handle, which is just different. Got your window controls here. These are the seats in the front of the ProMaster City. Super basic cloth seats, but again, they're going to be on the durable side, so they're going to hold up really well. They are manually adjustable. And then there's what the pedals look like. The steering wheel is also manually adjustable, and there's one more look before we pop in. Now you got the little flip out key, so you just got to put it in the ignition. Pretty straightforward, and then everything will pop on and we're good to go. Here's our steering wheel in the ProMaster City. You got the Ram logo right there in the center, and then it's a little bit grippier on the outside. Cruise control is just over here, and then you got your voice commands, phone controls on the other side. That's your stock for the lights, and then you got your stock for the windshield wipers. Pretty simple, pretty standard setup, nothing too crazy going on. Now here are the gauges. You're going to notice that it's pretty basic, pretty analog. You've got the speed over on the left side, you've got the RPMs over on the right side, and then you got a couple little bits of information down there, so saying the date, which yeah, I guess this thing is from the past because that's not the correct date. Obviously you can fix that so that it shows the correct date, but outside temperature, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much all for that little center stack. I just want to show you guys the backup camera quickly. So this backup camera is really good compared to the regular ProMaster. If you guys remember, that one's like at the very top of the vehicle, so it's kind of like hard to tell, whereas this one's in a more reasonable place, so it actually works, and the resolution on it is solid. Now, for the rest of the infotainment system, you can turn the screen off if you just don't like it. You got your regular radio controls. It does double as like a mini touch screen, but most of the stuff you're gonna use the little buttons on the side of the screen and just down below the screen as well. And yeah, pretty simple setup. And then you have a bunch of like blank switches, but you got the stability control, hazard lights, and then more stuff for the infotainment system right there. Here are the analog climate controls. It is just a single zone climate, and then you do get an auxiliary and a USB right here. And here's that shifter for the 9-speed automatic. You can actually shift the gears yourself manually if you'd like, and yeah, pretty simple right there. Another cup holder just down here, and then you get a regular e-brake, a couple of 12 volts, and then another cup holder just behind, and then there's an armrest, but you have to share it because there's only one armrest, or you have to fight over it, whichever happens. Now, they do give you some storage just above the glove box, and then the glove box, I mean, for how small this van is, I feel like it's a pretty decent size. And then there is some extra storage just at the top of the dash as well. Up top here, they do give you some lights, pretty simple, straightforward. And then up here, there's some extra storage at the very top, and they do give you some netting up there as well. So it kind of like blocks things off so it doesn't like slide back and forth. And sorry, hopefully you guys get a pretty good view up there. But yeah, you get that whole storage shelf, and they got regular sun visors, and they kind of like carpet this part, but then the rest is metal, so it's kind of interesting. Now that we're done going over the interior on this ProMaster City, let's get into how much this ProMaster City costs. So this ProMaster City, with all of the packages, it has stickers for just under $27,000. It's like $26,700 and some change. So about $27,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take this ProMaster City out and see how she drives. Let's talk about visibility here in the 2020 ProMaster City. So visibility over the hood is really good. It's just, boom, goes right down. Visibility through the mirrors is pretty good. That's cool. They do kind of like a mini like trailer mirror basically with a little convex mirror. There's visibility through your other mirror. And then here's visibility through the back, which is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, you can see absolutely nothing. So that all being said, let's set off. I'm setting off here in the 2020 ProMaster City, and the first thing I want to mention is the window at the front windshield is just like massive, and so it's like you have this like really good view at the front, and it actually, like, from like a front viewing perspective, I feel like really comfortable with this so far. The brakes on it are actually pretty good. I mean, it is a smaller size van, so I mean, I'd hope that it'd have a decent amount of stopping power. Just taking that little turn right there. The steering is kind of like in between, so it is a little bit on the heavier side. I wouldn't call it a heavy steering rack, but you can definitely, it is weighted a little bit more. In terms of the directness, there is a little bit of vagueness, but I mean, it's not too bad by any means. And let's see kind of how this handles right here. So yeah, I mean, it kind of handles how I expected. It's just a little van, and so it handles like a little van. Like, it kind of has like this unique feel to it, where it just kind of feels like light and small. It almost feels like zippy in a way. It's kind of weird. Like, it's supposed to be like a cargo van, but it's so small that it doesn't feel like a big cargo van. It's different. And well, we're gonna take another little turn here. Yeah, that steering, it's kind of weird that it's just a little bit heavy, and kind of like getting up just a little bit. Oh, you got to ring the engine out just a bit, just to even get up to speeds at all. That transmission isn't the quickest to shift, but I mean, it definitely gets the job done. And well, we're gonna get an acceleration up here in just a second while we wait for this minivan to go. Oh, looks like we're off on our way. How cool, they go in the other lane. I'm gonna be slow minivan, okay? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's slow, guys. I didn't even get up to the speed. Like, the speed limit here is 40 miles an hour. I didn't even make it up to 40 miles an hour, to be completely honest. Like, it's not fast at all. And I mean, other than that, like maybe someone who's using this doesn't really care about speed, I'm assuming, because it's a cargo van, use it more for utility, but I would definitely take that into account. And the one thing I forgot to talk about is the ride quality. It rides really smooth, actually. In terms of the noise, you hear a ton from the engine, but the rest of the noise, I mean, it's pretty minimal. And so let's get into summing things up. So where this van really stands is if you're looking for, again, a smaller size cargo van, you don't need like the full size van. You want something that's a little bit less expensive from a price point perspective. And yeah, you don't want like a regular minivan or something like that. You need something for like utility purposes, then that's where this sits. And I think it's actually a pretty good value with where it sits from a price point and everything. I just wish that maybe they'd give it a little bit more power. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for like a 5 liter or I mean a 6.2 liter V8 from Dodge, but I mean just something. And there we have it, everyone, the 2020 Ram ProMaster City. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Sandy for providing us with the ProMaster. Check out their intro in the link below. I will see all of you in that next video.